Welcome to a brand new video where we are going to be ranking every legend from the worst to the best with the newest season 10 update. If you go on to enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more content just like this. Quick disclaimer before we jump into it, this is my opinion and I understand that many of these legends could be switched around and each legend in their own way is definitely playable and can be good. Also, I rank these legends based off of their skill in the battle royale mode, but without further ado, let's jump into it. Starting us off in last place, we have none other than Watson. She honestly is in need of a buff. Her fences are decent for defending buildings, and her ultimate is good as it recharges shield, but it can be shot and destroyed. Overall, she's not that solid of a legend, and I hope that they give her a buff soon. Moving on to number 17, we've got Crypto. His abilities make him quite vulnerable and unable to help in team fights due to him having to stand still while using his drones. The EMP ultimate that hurts shields is a decent ultimate, but like I said, it doesn't help a ton in team fights because your team is basically having to 2v3. I think Crypto is another character that is in need of a buff sooner than later. Coming in next, we've got Mirage. Oh, Mirage. His decoys are usually not that useful anymore and are quite predictable, and his ultimate is basically a little better version of his decoys. Honestly, the best thing about him, in my opinion, is being able to go invisible while rezzing teammates. Mirage used to be good a long time ago when he first came out, but has slowly but surely found himself climbing down the ladder lower and lower in the best of the Apex Legends. Taking the number 15 spot, and this may come as a surprise to you, is Valkyrie. Honestly, her abilities are just meh. She has decent movement capabilities with her jetpack, and her missiles are pretty easy to dodge, but her ultimate can be useful when trying to rotate into zone. But honestly, most players don't really struggle to rotate because of other legends that have a very high pick rate, and they have abilities to make it quite easy to rotate. Next up, we have Fuse. This legend is really good at one thing, making everything go bang. His knuckle clusters are a decent grenade, and the fact that he can carry more grenades helps. His ultimate can be used to zone off enemies and does decent damage. I still think that Fuse needs some sort of a buff. I do think Fuse is a great legend to play if you're looking to just have fun and spam people with grenades. Taking the 13th spot, we've got Loba, the shopping queen. Her passive that allows her to see loot through walls is decent, but unfortunately there is a lot of epic and legendary loot that isn't picked up much. Her jump drive bracelet I think could use a buff. The cast time and the time it takes to fly through the air I think could be a little quicker, making it easier for her to get in and out of fights. Her black market ultimate, which shows loot in a surrounding area, is helpful both early and late game. I think with just a couple of changes, Loba could easily become a top 10 character, but until then, she stays top 15. Coming up next, we have a legend that has taken quite the fall from glory. We have Revenant. His passive that lets him crouch walk faster than any legend and climb higher than any legend is kind of pointless. With other legends that can easily reach high places and move quickly, it basically makes his passive almost useless. Revenant's silence ability can come in handy, but it's pretty easy to dodge. Where this legend really shines is his ultimate, which grants anyone who uses it death immunity. Overall a decent legend when paired with other ones, but in my opinion, he's more annoying than anything. In 11th place, we have Caustic, the Gas Man, a legend who shines in certain situations, but in other situations really struggles. His gas traps make it very difficult for teams to push inside of a building, and the ability to see the enemies when they're in the gas is very helpful. His ultimate is basically a giant version of his traps that he can throw. A big downside of his is that he is very slow and can be very useful in certain situations, but other than that, he is a very average legend. Starting off with our top 10, we have Horizon. Her passive combined with her gravity lift can be used to help outmaneuver enemies, and her ultimate, the black hole, isn't very good. It's easily shot and breaks because of its low health, and the radius is nothing crazy, so it can easily be thrown and dodged. Horizon is a decent legend, but in order to get really good with her, it requires quite a bit of playtime. Taking the 9th spot, we have Bangalore. Unfortunately, with the addition of Seer, Bangalore's smoke had become even easier to counter. Her passive that allows for quicker move speeds when being shot at make her a difficult target for those that struggle to hit their shots, and her ultimate in certain situations can be useful. I think the problem for Bangalore is that she's not bad, but there are other legends like her that are much better, so she quickly becomes overshadowed by those legends. Taking the 8th spot, we have Pathfinder, easily one of the best solo legends in the game. If you can master his grapple ability, Pathfinder can be insanely good at 1v3ing enemy teams, and his zipline ultimate is an easy way to help your team rotate or reach a strategic advantage point, and his passive allows him to scan beacons, which shows the exact spot of the next ring. Overall, a great legend to play and very fun to try and learn his grapple mechanics. Next up on the list, we have a legend that many people have probably been waiting for and wondering where they would be in this top list. Next up, we have in the 7th spot Rampart, with a very big jump from the bottom of most people's list. Her newest buff that allows her to carry Sheila around is crazy. The biggest downside is it takes a second for her to be able to shoot it, but it deals an insane amount of damage. Her walls that let people shoot from one side and not take damage can be useful in certain situations, but I think once the hype around her being able to carry around Sheila dies down, she will find her resting place somewhere in the top 10 legends. Taking the 6th spot, we have Lifeline, who is the only healer in the entire game. Her health drone is useful for helping the team stay at full health, and it gives the team the ability to avoid needing to take time to use a syringe or medkit. Also, her ability to revive teammates with this drone and continue to fight is very powerful. Her care package can come in clutch sometimes with the possibility of dropping things your team really needs, but overall, because Lifeline is the only healer in the game, she is very useful and comes in at number 6. Starting off our top 5 legends in Apex, we have Wraith. Her passive lets her know when someone is looking at her, and her ability to go invisible and avoid damage can be very useful for getting out of sticky situations. Her ultimate, which allows her to create a portal, can be used in many different ways to help the team rotate, to try and capture an opponent, or troll by placing one end of the portal off of the map. Wraith is a very solid legend and thrives in situations where she is outnumbered, which makes her the first legend in the top 5. Taking the 4th spot, we have Seer, the newest legend in the game. He was quite overpowered at release, but since then he has been nerfed, but still remains in the top 5 legends for many reasons. His passive that lets him hear and see heartbeats gives him info on where enemies are located. His tactical ability cancels people trying to heal or shield up and reveals their location and shows the team how much health they have. Seer's ultimate can be thrown and reveals the location of enemies that are moving or shooting, but can be countered by crouching and also can be broken if shot enough. Seer is a great legend to have in your team comp and is arguably the best legend at getting information for your team. In 3rd place, we have none other than Octane. With his recent nerfs to his passive healing and jump pad cooldown, I still think Octane will be a highly picked legend. His jump pad for team mobility and outplay is great, and Octane's ability to easily fight 1v3 with his health regen when not in combat helps keep him in fights longer, and it helps to show why he currently has the highest pick rate. There isn't really anything bad you can say about Octane, and that is why he is in the top 3 legends. Up next in 2nd place, we have Gibraltar, aka Gibby. He is easily the best support character in the game. His gun shield effectively gives him more health, and with a fully leveled Evo shield, he has the highest amount of health in the entire game. His dome shield protects from any incoming damage and can be used to help easily res down teammates, and his ultimate that rains down missiles is very strong late game, and without another Gibby shield to protect you, makes it almost impossible to avoid and survive. There is a reason he has such a high pick rate and used in top tier ranked matches. And with the number 1 spot, the best legend in Apex, in my opinion, is Bloodhound. His scan ability that basically gives your team wall hacks is very strong, and his ultimate, which highlights enemies and reduces the cooldown of your scan significantly, means you can have wall hacks almost all of the time for your team. Bloodhound's ability to give your team info and see where enemies are makes him a really strong pick for your team comp, and in my opinion, he's number 1 because he can work well with any of the other legends in the game. Well, there you have it. That is your Apex Legends ranked from the worst to best. If you made it this far into the video and haven't liked or subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. And thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next one.